SURG-Water. Episode 2. The Market. This podcast is produced by SURG-Water, project funded by Science Foundation Ireland. Welcome back to SURG-Water. In our last episode, we explored solar water disinfection, SODIS, with Professor Pilar Fernández Ibáñez. Among the variety of fascinating insights, we have discovered that while the technology behind SODIS is reliable, it hasn't been commercialized despite the obvious need for wider access to water. Therefore, in today's episode, I want to ask entrepreneurs about the feasibility of bringing the use of SODIS to the market. To answer that, we'll embark on a deeper investigation to uncover the underlying reasons why solar disinfection technology has not been yet taken up widely by the business community. Are you intrigued? Let's begin. We'll start with a brief explanation of the technology behind SURG-Water, and who better to provide this than Sergi Navarro, the engineer from Ecosystems Innovation Plant SL in Barcelona, who supplied the SODIS reactors to SURG-Water.
The reactors that we created for Malawi in SURG-Water called SODIS reactors. It's the most simple reactor that we can construct because only needs, imagine a big pipe made with methacrylate. Okay, it's translucent, and you have to fill all of these pipes with water. Okay, water that you need to treat, to disinfect. And then below these pipes, you have aluminum mirrors that these mirrors collect all sunlight and concentrate it in these pipes. And then we don't need to heat the water. We only need the sun radiation. And this kind of reactor can be used without electricity. You only need to fill these pipes, and you can use a manual pump or gravity. And we build this kind of reactor to Malawi.
This issue with outsourcing is also depicted by Mr. Edwin Sadi, the managing director of Ideas Corporation, a company based in Malawi. His business specializes in IT infrastructure design, software development, and research in areas like water, sanitation, and solar energy. Ideas Corporation is actively involved in projects where solar energy powers water sources in different communities across Malawi. Edwin's insights will help us to understand better the dynamics of water projects in the market. Is there a demand in countries like Malawi for technologies such as SODIS?
There is a demand for these type of technologies at the right cost. You know, like the water boards, the authorities of the country that have mandates to give access to clean water for all the citizens do not cover each and every area of Malawi. So the need is there. I know in community, especially in the rural communities, not in town. In town, mostly, there will be somehow access to water. There is a definite need for access to clean water. So the market is there, but I again say it has to be at the right price. So I think I see two main challenges. The first one is the sustainability of the rainwater, because if you're harvesting rainwater, we have rainwater, I think, for only, is it 3 months or thereabouts in Malawi, even less, I think. So somewhere from December or January, thereabouts, maybe until March or something. So the rain stops. And then the other part is now the filtration of the water, use of the reactors. That's also another problem because we have to get it from outside the country. And because of that, then you're meeting the challenge of cost and also access to the foreign currency, because just generally, we don't have that. We've had issues for the past, let's say, 2 years. Access to foreign currency has been a big limiting factor to getting goods outside the country.
It's worth noting that research initiatives like SURG-Water are aimed at understanding these obstacles to find solutions. For instance, in the rural clinics where we are trialing the use of SODIS for the provision of safe maternal health, we have installed tanks with a capacity of 20,000 litres to collect rainwater. One objective of the project is to determine how long these tanks can sustain the water supply in each clinic. based on these findings, will seek sustainable solutions, which could be as simple as adding more tanks or more SODIS water treatment reactors.
By the end of the day, the market, it's being driven by the needs of the consumer. And the consumer, what they want is to have access to clean water. They could use chlorine. So chlorine is less than $1 a bottle to put in the tank.
Wait a second. Chlorine works? And it's cheaper? Let's check on that. I'm sure Professor Kevin McGuigan can clarify.
There are quite a few waterborne pathogens, that's microbes that cause disease, that are resistant to chlorine. And one of the major ones is cholera. You can put as much chlorine as you want into the water, it won't necessarily completely disinfect it. And we've found that all of the important waterborne bacteria, including cholera, are inactivated by solar water disinfection. The other problem is that the residence time for chlorination, i.e. how long after you chlorinate the water, the chlorine remains in the water, it's only about 6 hours. So after 6 hours, that water could be recontaminated. Whereas with solar water disinfection, we tend to find that if you disinfect the water, it's safe for at least 48 hours after that.
Going back to the materials and the sustainability behind a project such as SURG-Water, Sergi has it clear.
At an economic level, it's quite expensive compared to the economies of developing countries. However, the concept of this kind of reactors remains alive because other low-cost materials can be used. When we manufacture reactors here in Barcelona, they are usually targeted for research centers or for developing countries financed by Europe or other governments. And therefore, we need to manufacture a long-life reactor. But in real life, anyone can make a solar reactor for water disinfection using water jugs, aluminum foil, and a quick test to ensure the water is potable. This method is very cheap and accessible for all, but using conventional reactors is always more practical and safer. The solution is produce these reactors there, buy the materials there, and manufacture these reactors there. But we need a company or people who wants to do that.
One of SURG-Water aims is finding local manufacturers who can provide the materials to build the SODIS reactor in Malawi or at least in Africa, cheapening this way the construction process. The SURG-Water team is currently carrying out this task and it has already identified some local providers. At this point, I had talked to Sergi and Edwin, but I had a third person in mind. I was sure he was going to help me to understand how a project such as SURG-Water could help to develop the SODIS market. I reached out to Martin Wiesen, co-founder of Social Entrepreneurship Network Austria, an organization advocating for social entrepreneurs and influencing political policies for a better social enterprise landscape in Austria. Martin is also part of the Kofi Annan Award Board for Innovation in Social Activities and plays a role in SURG-Water as our link between the researchers and the business and entrepreneur community in Malawi. Additionally, he is involved in a unique initiative called water disinfection.
I've developed an indicator for SODIS called WADI, which measures the UV rays and calculates the reduction of the germs in the water. So place it with a lot of bottles in the sun, for example. It shows a smiley face as soon as the water is ready to drink. So therefore, I built up projects with this indicator, with the WADI. And currently about 500,000 people are using the device on a daily basis to disinfect their water.
Smiley face for clean water, I like that. Martin has extensive international experience with SODIS across various continents, including Africa. I'm curious to hear his thoughts on the market potential for this technology and its feasibility for wider adoption.
You have to train people how to use it properly, which is not that easy to convince people to change their behavior. And no one is earning money with SODIS. And this is, I think, one of the main reasons why SODI is not that widespread, because it's for free, let's say like that. And this was one of the reasons of my invention of VADI, so you can earn money with it and with SODIS, and reduced the training costs. So to train the people how to use SODIS properly, because you just use the device and then you can use it immediately, actually, without any training. And on an international basis, with the entrepreneurship in SODIS, I would say it's some kind of belief. I heard many times it's too easy to work out. So it's too easy functioning. And especially the big NGOs were not interested in it at all, because it was developed like a solution where people can be independent afterwards. One of the oldest projects is it's right now 9 years on age. So they disinfect their water since 9 years on a daily basis without any costs, without any additional needs. And especially NGOs are, it's a pity, but it's my opinion, are interested in being very close to the people they are trying to help. And with the SODIS, and especially with VADI, you give them kind of independence. You don't need them anymore.
SURG-Water aims to introduce a sustainable water treatment method, enabling women to have safe deliveries and ensuring that staff members can maintain sanitation standards in the maternity wards they work in. This is why SURG-Water is testing SODIS reactors, capable of cleaning a minimum of 250 liters of harvested rainwater daily. If all this works, one would expect SODIS to attract investment from individuals who recognize its business potential, don't you think? Before we conclude this episode, I have one more question. Are there any strategies to make SODIS more appealing and interesting to the industry?
SODIS works, and I'm 100% sure. I have seen it, I have done it, I drank the water many times.
Wait, drinking water? I thought we weren't supposed to drink it. Let's double check with Professor McGuigan, shall we?
It's all a matter of relative risk. The water coming out of the solar disinfection system is definitely safer than the water coming out of the tank. But I have seen communities in rural Africa, certainly in Uganda, who rely exclusively on harvested rainwater for their drinking water. So you can drink it, but it doesn't meet national standards. And similarly with the solar water disinfection, it's very good for inactivating the fecal bacteria. We know that it's very effective against that. But there are some total coliforms, they're not necessarily pathogenic, that are more resistant. So in that regard, solar disinfected water doesn't necessarily meet national guidelines all the time, but it's reasonably safe to drink.
All right, good to know. But I would like to learn more about the clearing process of the water. Mental note: find an expert on the biological aspects of water purification using SODIS. Okay, let's continue with Martin.
I was focusing on point of use disinfection, which is pretty expensive and not that easy to do because you have to convince millions of people. I'm more interested in the reactor and highly convinced about the device itself. And I'm pretty sure you can lower down the device, the reactor, and make it affordable for people, especially in African countries. But you have to do some re-engineering, I think so. So make it easier so you can put it together in the countries itself, even in remote areas. And you have to put a business model on it. So therefore you can afford the reactor. I think the reactor is actually the SODIS device which can change a lot.
And with that, we wrap up this second episode, where we have explored entrepreneurs' perspectives on the challenges of broadening SODIS technology's adoption along with potential alternatives. Collaborative efforts between funders and researchers in projects like SURG-Water undoubtedly offer solutions for bringing clean water to remote areas. In May 2024, SURG-Water will set a meeting in Malawi with local and international entrepreneurs to explore all possibilities to create a market for SODIS technology. In the upcoming episodes, we'll explore deeper into the intricacies of SURG-Water and uncover why a research project of its kind holds significance for rural communities. But that will have to wait until 2 weeks from now. Until then, remember, be water.